So today we're going to talk about your book that's coming out. But before we talk about the book, I want to talk about you and your accomplishments and things that you've done. I mean, you're a film critic, editor, creative director, producer. I mean, you've written so many fantasy and sci-fi fiction. You have extensive knowledge on Dracula, but you cover so many elements throughout your career. You've written numerous books. You appeared on several TV specials, including 100 Scariest Movie Moments, and also History of Horror. You've done documentaries and things like that, and you've worked with.
In other words, I've been around a long time.
Yeah, I could go on and on. Definitely. So we're gonna talk about the book and to break it down. And when I went through it, I really did enjoy it. I mean, I love how each segment tells you, the name of the book, the name of the movie, and how many minutes it is, and the producer, director, and the whole concept. How did you come up with that?
Well, I was approached by Turner Classic Movies. I've been a big fan for a long time. They knew me and I knew them, and they had a big success with a book about Christmas movies a few years ago, and so much that they are bringing out a sequel. And they said, well, how about Halloween? It is the second biggest retail holiday after Christmas, and I'm also a Halloween historian, so it seemed like a good match.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. And also, I really like how you label who's in it and things like that, and then it's kind of structured from the earliest film to the latest. And why you pick those specific movies?
Well, we had many conferences about the selection. Basically, the overall choice was mine, the shape of it, but we had a lot of back and forth on individual films. Everyone has their favorite. And but we decided to do it chronologically, from F.W. Murnau's Nosferatu to Jordan Peele's Get Out. So there's really quite a range there.
Yeah, yes, it is. I mean, just the list alone, because I got the privilege to get a sneak peek of it, and the visuals and the stills that are in there, some I've never seen before. So I thought that was exciting.
I hope so. One of the things I enjoy most about doing these film books is getting to poke around archives and find photos that have rarely, if ever, been seen before. And there are several of those in here, and I think people will like them. I mean, we've all seen the same old. And so when something new pops up from Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, or from Lugosi's Dracula, I want to showcase it. Share my discoveries with people.
Most of these films, because I have the list here of what movies is in there, and like I've probably seen more than half. Few I've never had a chance to, but knowing that it's in this book is like, okay, I gotta see it, definitely. And the in-depth writing, some of the information I was just like, I didn't even know that. I took film classes and I even was taught any of that. How did you get a hold of that type of information? What research?
Well, I've been digging into this sort of thing for a long time.
Yeah.
And my books, comprehensive though they are, can't use every scrap of information I come up with. Otherwise, it just kind of stops the flow of the narrative. But in a shorter format like this, where there are a few thousand words on each film, I was able to pace it a little differently and get a lot of those little nuggets and rarely heard facts about the films, including casting choices that never came to be, what the critics at the time thought, problems with the censors. It goes on and on, but it's fun. I think people who've enjoyed my books will enjoy the similar approach. It's it's analysis and history and anecdote. I think people are what make these movies tick, and a lot of them are very, very colorful. They don't always behave well on the set, or didn't, and so that's just the kind of the human wild card that comes in. I really enjoy sharing that.
And one thing that's really amazing about this book is that you can watch it every day in October. There's a movie for every day of the week.
And a runner-up.
Yeah.
We really couldn't. The group of us really couldn't decide. So we, in addition to each main listing, every day has a. If you enjoyed this, you may enjoy this.
Mhm.
And so there are really 62 films that are
Yeah.
that are talked about, and of course Turner will be running films
Mhm.
all through the month of October. They don't line up exactly with the book, but they will include many of them, and there will be some more surprises about Turner's schedule that I'll reveal later.
Okay, so what can you tell us that these movies will bring to the audience for maybe someone who's never seen any of these movies, or maybe a few, and they come across your book? What would they come away with that?
Well, I think just the sheer scope and variety of films. I mean, there's no one definition of horror that everybody can agree on. Just like everybody can't agree exactly what a monster is, but we follow the growth of the genre from the German expressionistic films of the 1920s, the Hollywood films that are very, very much influenced by a lot of German talent came to Hollywood in the 30s, and that's one of the reasons we have that wonderful look and style of the original Universal classics. And also I talk about how things in the real world are affecting things that happen in our fantasy land. I've always felt that from my first books that every big social challenge or a catastrophe or a realignment of our social contract leads to identifiable patterns, in horror entertainment. We use horror to kind of get a grip on real life fears that we don't want to look at too directly, but with in the guise of a Hollywood monster, we can. It's the spoonful of sugar that, not sugar, I guess something more bitter than that, but it does make the medicine go down.
Yeah, definitely. So we actually talked before, and we're going to talk about 3 of our favorite movies that are in that book. So you picked Frankenstein, 1931 Frankenstein. And why did you pick that one? Why is that one your favorite?
Well, it's not. None of them are everyone asks me, which ones are my favorite, and or is this a countdown book? It's a countdown book in the sense that it's 31 films for 31 days. But I tried to choose the best thing I could. No, all these films are important for their own reasons. Frankenstein is simply the most famous horror movie ever made. It's the most imitated horror movie ever made. And Karloff's monster is one of the most identifiable screen icons of all time. People who've never seen any of the movies know exactly, who Karloff in that wonderful makeup by Jack Pierce.
Okay.
They know who he is and basically what he's about, and he's thoroughly permeated the realms of advertising and communications. And you don't have to be a film buff to know who Karloff as Frankenstein is.
Definitely. And you also choose House on Haunted Hill. We don't have much time to get in depth, but you were scared to death as a child on the scene in House on Haunted Hill when the lady came in on a skateboard and was like,
"Oh yeah, there's a scene in the basement." It's a completely corny film. It's a ridiculous film. It is one of the most enjoyable scary movies to ever come out of Hollywood, because
Mm.
so much of it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, for this haunted house party to work, they would need the infrastructure of a major
Mhm.
theme park, to and the character Vincent Price plays is not quite that rich,
Yeah,
but it requires the complete suspension of disbelief. And
definitely.
if you can really just let all of it go,
Hmm.
all of your objections to the reality of what you're seeing, it's a
Mm.
lot of fun.
Yeah, and for me, my favorite is The Thing, 1982, John Carpenter's The Thing. I love that movie. It scared me to death when I was 4 years old, when I kind of snuck and watched it, but I was kind of forced to watch it by my
How
parents.
who
My
forced you to
parents,
watch it?
well, I kept trying to sneak and watch it, and then my parents were like, "Okay, no, since you're trying to sneak, you're going to really watch it." So the head, when Nora's head went across the floor, it was terrifying, but it ended up becoming my favorite movie, as you can see. But it's definitely one of those. The effects, and I just love it. I could talk
Well,
all day about it. I just love it.
you're not alone. A
Yeah.
lot of people just are absolutely in love with that picture.
But yeah, but I want to say thank you for joining us, this afternoon to talk about you. We're here with film historian and author David J. Skal. This book, uh, Fright Favorites, say that a few times. 31 movies to haunt your Halloween and beyond. It is released September 1st, right?
Yes, you can
Yeah,
pre-order now, but
yeah.
we'll be doing all kinds of things, especially during the month of October.
Mhm.
We will have some uh, daily things to look at for each of the 31 days of Halloween.
Okay. So thank you so much. This was fantastic, and I'm hosting this with talking to him, Ivotres Littles. So you could find me horror movies and beyond. And there's my information at the bottom. So definitely look for that book and enjoy all the movies. And if you haven't seen any of them, it's amazing, and his work is amazing. Look for his books and everything. It's awesome.
Well, thank you so much. Let's do this again and get
Yes, we
the set and
do.
the lights right, because it was really a beautiful setup, and I guess I'll have to perfect it for my next my next go
No,
around.
no worries. This is live. We're all here enjoying and having fun.
Okay.
All right.
Happy
Thank-
Halloween.
Same to you.